It's the Ross Tucker Football Podcast.
Oh, yeah, it is. But it's not just any Ross Tucker Football Podcast. I would never do that to you guys. It is a Monster Monday, presented, of course, by DraftKings, and it is a new week, and it's basically football week. Everybody starts training camp this week, including today's guest, Panthers tight end Colin Thompson, who has his own podcast network, by the way, whose senior year state championship game I called. We'll get to all that momentarily, just the emotions, the feelings going into training camp. There's a lot to get to with Colin. I will make sure everybody knows new week means new opportunity to be winners, to spread the word via social media, at Ross Tucker NFL, at Ross Tucker Pod. Please, it's football season. Engage. Or just to take advantage of any of our sponsors. You'll hear from ExpressVPN, Express Clothing today, Athletic Greens later on in the week, and you have a chance to win whatever you want. Signed press pass, card, picture, whatever. And then the YouTube shout out, which I love. I did one of these videos over the weekend, youtube.com/Ross Tucker NFL. Just subscribe and then comment. You can even let me know that you're new. That flashes to me as well. youtube.com/Ross Tucker NFL. A lot to get to. Kyler Murray signed a deal after our last show last Thursday. But first, it's Colin Thompson's Big Show time.
The Big Show.
Colin, I got so many things I want to talk to you about. It's not even funny. So first of all, I don't even know where I want to start. I'm going to start with this. It's Monday morning. When do you report to training camp?
Tuesday at around midday.
Midday Tuesday. Okay. So it's been a long time for me, since 2007. So take all of my listeners and viewers, take them all into your brain, into your belly. Give me the emotions. Be real. Be honest.
I'll say this, Ross, and you know this because you do remember this. I know it was a while ago. First off, what you guys did, and it's great to be on the show. I'll say that. First off, thanks for having me. You're someone I look up to in this business. I told you that via text. Grew up listening to you, called my high school game in the state title. I watched you do Eagles preseason growing up. And, I obviously followed their footsteps with the podcast. So, again, I appreciate you trailblazing and, guys like me trying to follow in your lead. But let me go back to first off is a little bit different game when you guys were in it in 07. I was still part of that in youth football and high school football with the 2-a-days and 3-a-days and the one water break. That wasn't too long ago, folks. I don't think people realize that was not that long ago. Now, I wasn't in the NFL doing it, but, youth football and high school football was hard enough. So props to you. We're a little bit spoiled now, at least compared to what you guys did. I felt pretty good mindset-wise, but I woke up this morning and I was like, oh, man, I'm already a little sore and I'm not even there yet. Maybe did I give myself enough rest time? Am I feeling fresh? Have I put the prep in? And I have. So it's a unique feeling as we get closer. Like I said, I woke up this morning, the feet are cracking, the body's shaking. I'm saying, all right, well, here we go. We got another, 180, 200 days of this to go. But I'm excited because I'm just blessed to be in this league. I think we all are. We all have different journeys. Mine is fairly unique. In the sense that I was undrafted and had emergency appendectomy with the Giants, got cut after the first preseason game after playing, 5 reps, and then was out for 10 weeks. And the Bears called when Zach Miller blew his leg out, and I showed up and shockingly won a tight end workout against tight ends that were better than me, I thought. And I was there for a year, and then the day they traded for Khalil Mack, they cut me. But I've had a great training camp, I thought, or did pretty good at least. We had a lot of tight ends. The Eagles fans know Trey Burton was one of them, and we had a lot of guys there, a really good group. And then I went AAF, Birmingham Iron, played for local product Tim Lewis, who was a childhood, idol of mine. I sat behind my mom in high school, and I grew up, going to Tim's games when he was coaching in Pittsburgh and the Giants. So I played it, 5 games in the AAF, and that folded. And then I went to the XFL through a connection in the AAF, and then that folded because of COVID. And then Coach Rule called and said, hey, you want to come play for us in Carolina? I liked your tape in the XFL, and I've been here 3 years. I got medically disqualified in college at Florida and had to transfer from Florida because of 2 broken feet. And, went to Temple and inched my way back and was part of that unbelievable team there. And just incredible journey it's been. So I'm just blessed to be in this league. That's where my mindset is. And I know that's cliche, and a lot of guys say that, but I truly am. I've worked probably 6 or 7 jobs outside of football. I've called games on the radio. I've called, in Temple, I traveled with the team for 3 years doing color commentary. I lived in Cape May where we reside, and now reside in Annapolis, Maryland. And I would drive an hour and a half every day, every other day to Philly to do Eagles pre and post game live when I was out of the league. I've hustled. I started a media company. It's, that's not for long media. NFL stands for not for long. So I started that when I got cut by the Giants, and, now we have 6 shows. So I've definitely, kept a lot of pots going, and it's helped me, focus and clear my mind away from football, but dial in when I need to. But in a long roundabout way, to answer your question, how I feel for training camp, I'm excited. Made a lot of changes personally to my game to make myself better, to make this team better in Carolina, and I'm excited to see how they pay off.
Man, so one of the things I was going to ask you is to go through all your transactions. So you kind of beat me to the punch there, which is amazing. I mean, I knew you had a bunch, and I was going to be curious. It's funny. It's almost like no matter how many you have, you're still able to remember them all. You know what I mean? Like I played for 5 teams in 7 years, but you played 3 different leagues and all kinds of stuff. It's funny, Colin, because what I remember around this time is maybe like July 10th to the 20th or 24th or something. I'd kind of be dreading training camp. Like, this is going to be awful. And it was bad back then. I mean, it was bad. But then like a couple days out, it would totally switch. And it would be like, I'm tired of dreading it. I just want to start it now. I just want to start it now. I just want to do it. I'm ready to go kill some guys. Like I'm ready to go earn this. Like, let's do it. I can't remember what day it was, but there's always like a flip switch, which is funny. What's your status there? Like break down the tight end room in Carolina and what your role was last year. And are you battling for a roster spot? Are you battling to be the number 2 guy? Sort of, and I know you're always competing to start and the whole deal, but sort of what if I read the Carolina beat writers, what would they say that your role is for the team?
My role has kind of been the same since it's been here. It's a backup for all the tight ends. So whether I'm backing up the starting Y, which is Ian Thomas, who is an absolute stud and is probably the best tight end in the NFL that no one knows absolutely about. He's pound for pound one of the best blocking tight ends in the NFL. He's from Baltimore, Maryland. Absolutely toughest dude I've ever played with. Awesome guy. Played at Nassau. Where he played Nassau. What's it called? JUCO. And then he went to Indiana and then was drafted here and sat behind Greg for a couple of years. And he's just got a second contract and as an absolute stud. He's our starting Y. Tommy Tremble's our starting F, who went to Notre Dame, got drafted at 20 years old. 2 years into a year in the league now, he's 22. Young, physical, freak of nature athlete, strong as an ox, great guy, great teammate. And then I probably come in, I slot somewhere right behind them with Gio Ricci, our fullback, Stephon Sullivan, who's a wide receiver, DN converted to tight end. We kind of all fit into that role. And then we have some new tight ends as well, some undrafted guys that are great guys and great players. So I would say somewhere in that role there of the 3rd, 4th guy. I always joke. I said, some days I'm the first guy, I'm 1, or some plays I'm 1, and then some plays I'm 6. So, it just depends whether we're in a 2-minute drill, I'm holding a clipboard on the sideline, or is it, first and goal and I'm running, split belly, then I'm in. So it just depends, kind of what we're doing, how we're approaching things, and, what we're trying to run.
So, gosh, I got a lot of questions for you, man. All right. So I want to take a step back. So I mentioned this right at the start. Okay. Colin went to Archbishop Wood, which is a powerhouse school outside of Philadelphia. And I called his state championship game his senior year. What was that, Colin? Like 2011 or 12?
2011 state championship. Yep.
Okay. So I did the state championship games for 10 years. Colin's team might have been the best high school football team I've ever seen. I mean, they played Bishop McDevitt, who had some really good players, and the year before had been in the state championship game, and they slaughtered them. You know what I remember about the game is I played with Vrabel in New England. So Vrabel and Luke Fickle and Urban Meyer came to the game for Noah Spence, who was Bishop McDevitt's stud D end. So I'm on the sideline before the game talking with them, but I had prepped for you guys. So I was like, well, that O lineman's going to Boston College. That guy's going here. That running back's going to Rutgers. That running back's going to Temple. That tight end's going to Florida. And Urban Meyer looks at me and says, I want to meet the coach. So I don't know if you remember this. Literally, like before the state championship football game, Urban Meyer's in Hershey, Pennsylvania, Hershey Park Stadium. He walks right across midfield, goes up to Steve Devlin, and Devlin's like, "What's the head coach, Rusher Woods? Like, what's going on?" Urban Meyer's like, "Hey, coach, I just wanted to meet you." Do you remember that?
I do, and I know Coach Devlin remembers it fondly as well, because Coach used to go to the Tebow, camps back in the day. Not the Tebow camps, the Urban Meyer camps, because Dan Mullen is a recruiter, coach at Del Val. I think he coached at Del Val. I know he coached what is it, D3, not Ursinus, whatever it is. I forget. It slipped my mind. I got to get my PA small school football knowledge back up, but I know the answer. It just slipped my mind now. But they used to go to Florida, so they knew Urban from afar. And I know Coach Devlin, that was a proud moment for him. So, yeah, that was unique, man. That game, 52-0, largest margin of victory in Pennsylvania high school state history. I think we really shot ourselves in the foot early in the year. We lost on ESPN by 1 point to Pittsburgh Central Catholic. We went out to Pittsburgh, took the bus ride. We had a lot of guys playing that were not playing for us later in the year. I'll say that, or at least week 2. And we went out there, and a controversial lightning delay as we're going to just absolutely driving down the field. There was been lightning in the distance all day. They called it. And we Hives a long snapper, snap hole kick, ball went right over the uprights, and it was a controversial field goal and we lost. So we ended up losing by 1, and then mercy ruling our last 13 or 14 opponents there, and finished the year, I don't know what we were, 13 or 14-1. Beat Bishop McDevitt, had 3,000-yard running backs. Just a sneak peek at our offense, folks. I was the number 1 tight end in the country. I had 13 catches. Most guys have, 80. So all the guys behind me on the list had 80. So I was just blocking, my ass off, and kind of still doing my role. Things haven't changed much. And it was unbelievable. We talk about emotions and emotional. That was really cool. We were really, truly guys like living in the moment. I remember telling people in high school, like, I'm not getting a school ring. We're not getting school rings. We're going to win a state championship. It sounds corny. It sounds like, a Texas high school football thing, but that's where we were. That was our mindset with it. It was ran like a college program between Steve Devlin and Mike Carey, Joe Holman, who all came over from the Central Bucks West days. They were with Pettin Sr., RIP, and Pettin Jr., and that whole staff. They all disbanded, and Mike Carey was still living in the area and, owns the New Britain Inn and the Candlewick and all these restaurants in Doylestown, Pennsylvania, where I'm from. He came to West and changed the whole atmosphere. He came to Wood, changed the whole atmosphere. And Wood's, never been this, the same sense of what it was before Steve and Mike got there. And now it's a powerhouse in the area. We got 4 or 5 guys, 6 guys in the NFL now. And it's been quite a journey from that school. I'm fortunate to still be involved with the school and be on the board of the school. And we're trying to do a lot of great things there and make, have the school take the next step to compete with all the other schools in the area. So, yeah, man, quite the journey. Urban Meyer said it's the best high school football team he's ever seen, and that's very nice of him, but he's definitely seen some better teams with Rainey and the 2 Pouncey brothers and all those guys in Florida. But, yeah, man, we were loaded, and it's a shame we lost that first game, because if not, I think we probably wouldn't have finished inside the top 10 nationally. I think we finished, somewhere 19 to 20, somewhere in that range.
Speaking of competing, got to ask you your read on the quarterback competition that they're calling it in Carolina. You knew I had to ask you at least one question about this. You know what's funny? In all sincerity, like Panthers fans, people like that's the biggest topic, right? Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold. I am usually more interested in like your life, your career, learning about someone. I mean, do you know how many, just off the top of your head, do you know how many transactions you've had? Do you ever count them up?
I have no idea. Well, let's see. Well, I mean, I had a transaction last year when my face is in the massage table and I'm getting my ass kicked by our masseuse. Like, not the fun masseuse, folks. Like, everyone you say masseuse, everyone's like, oh, that's nice. I'm like, no, it's horrible. It's 2 hours of pain. And my phone rings. And I usually have it on Do Not Disturb when I'm in the massage chair, just trying to relax as much as I can. And I got cut week 14 after I just played the day before. And you're like, what? I'm getting cut? What do you mean? Yep. And they're like, hey, we're going to sign you back to the practice squad. We hope you clear waivers. I almost didn't. And I almost was in like 4 or 5 different places that, went on to do a lot of things in the playoffs. And that would have been cool. But I wanted to be in Carolina. I really want to be here. But I digress. That was one that I would have forgot. That's because I stayed on the team, so I completely forgot about that one. But that just happens like casually in the NFL. You just get cut and take it.
Yeah, you're just getting a massage and you get cut week 14. You played the day before. So tell me about
probably 10 though, Ross. Probably 10. I don't know, maybe more than that.
At least if you consider practice squad up and down, and you consider the other leagues. I mean,
I would say 20. I would say 20 times.
It's a lot, man.
All the workouts
I was looking
too.
at it and I was going to see if you knew all of them.
All the
but anyway,
workouts,
give me your the other thing that's funny too is like when someone's talking about themselves and their life, they feel free to speak freely, right? And kind of say, their emotions, whatever. Now, I want everyone to watch this now. Now I'm going to ask him about Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield. Watch Colin. Watch the
temple.
The switch flipped, and watch how like politically correct and professional he answers this.
It's a great question, Ross. 2 great guys competing for a job. I'm going to sound like a hockey player. 2 great guys working hard, getting in the corners, grinding. No, so I'm going to give you the most honest answer I could physically give. So Coach Rule's not upset with me. And I've actually, Zach, I've been on Zach Gelb's show about this, and he was throwing it in my face. It happened, and Zach's a Temple grad, and he's got a national show, and he's a great guy, and I love him. But he was like 4 or 5 questions. It's like, boom, boom, who's going to win? Who do you think? I'm like, hold on, man, let's pump the brakes. So I was able to spend some time with him this weekend. We had a kind of mini players retreat. We ran routes on air, and we had food catered and hung out with at Christian's house and just chilled out on the boat. It was just good time with the guys. It was great. And I think the funny part is like Baker and Sam are friends. They've known each other for a while. They were the top quarterbacks coming out in the same draft. So that's going to be a whole funny thing because the media down here, we're going to go from not that many people at practice to 30, 40 reporters. We're going to look like the Giants now, and they'll be all at practice, stirring the pot. But to answer your question, I always say this, and I'm just trying to be transparent as possible. If you look at what the deal that was done, I put my GM hat on, to add a top pick in the draft for what they added him for to your football team is an unbelievable thing for what we did in Carolina. Again, that's above my pay grade. That's just my opinion. Like, hey, that's pretty sweet. It's one of the top quarterbacks in the NFL, #1 pick, and he's on our team for that. We didn't give up a player. You hate to see players leave. I know you've been on teams where players got traded. There was probably some of your friends. So on that cap, awesome. If you're also the GM, you get to add now 2 quarterbacks. Really, I love our whole room, PJ Walker, Matt Corral. Don't forget about them. Pretty good room. You get to add a player like Baker Mayfield to your roster. Like, whatever happens and whoever wins, and again, out of my control and in their control. And I mean, it's great for the team. So Baker is like a team guy. He's all about like the boys, he's like the perfect guy to insert into a team. So I'll say that it's up to them, and it's up to me to do my job. And I know it's so cliche, but it's so true. There's plays last year where everyone's like, Sam Darnold can't make a throw. Well, did you see Colin Thompson against the Eagles who jump set and Barrett beat him inside and Sam had to run for his life? Like, that's on me. That's not on Sam. Like, of course, Sam missed the guy wide open down the field because I missed my block. So that's the one thing I challenge fans, and I'm sure you do too, is like, take a picture of everything. Don't just take a picture of the quarterback. So I think they'll both be successful. All of our quarterbacks will be successful because our team is so much better. From when I got here to now, I'm just trying to make this roster, but the team is so much better. You add Bozeman, you add Corbett, you add Icky, to an offensive line that's got Pat Elflein and Taylor Moton and Cam Irving and Michael Jordan and Brady Christensen. Like that was a thing before that everyone's like, oh, Carolina offensive line. Yeah, well, there you go. That's pretty good. We have a lot of depth there. Stud receiver, right? So, I think to me, to answer your question, if I had to give you the quote in the social media clip, I think they'll both compete for the job. Sure, the best man will win, but the team is so much better, so they're going to thrive a lot better. I think, and this too. How many guys on the planet, maybe 3 or 4, can function with, a team that's not, ready to take that next step? Like coming to a team and like, all right, this quarterback joins a team that can win a Super Bowl. I think that's like 3 people on the planet, literally the entire earth. So the team's a lot better, and I think they're going to, we'll allow them to be more comfortable and play better.
Check him out on social media at Colin Thompson TU on Twitter. He's the founder of at Not For Long Media. I love that name, by the way. At Not For Long Media. You can check out all of his shows, including his own show. Colin, really appreciate the time, man. So cool to get somebody on right before they report tomorrow. Stay healthy and go kick some ass.
Ross, again, man, I look up to you. I can't thank you enough for having me on. It's a pleasure. And, good luck this season on the call. Good luck this season with the show. And anything you need, let me know.
Absolutely. Take care. There he is, Colin Thompson. That was awesome, man. I can see why people like being coaches, because even just talking with him, it just gets me pumped up. It really, really does. I'm also pumped up about ExpressVPN. I can say with full confidence it's the best VPN on the market. Here's why. They don't log your activity online. Lots of cheap or free VPNs make money by selling your data to advertisers. ExpressVPN doesn't do that. Number 2, speed. ExpressVPN uses Lightway, a new VPN protocol they engineered to make user speeds faster. That's actually very important for VPNs, the speed. And then it's just easy to use. You literally just click on the app and tap one button and you're good. Protect yourself with the VPN that I use and trust when I'm traveling. Use my link, expressvpn.com/Tucker today, and get an extra 3 months free on a 1-year package. That's expressvpn.com/Tucker. Visit expressvpn.com/Tucker to learn more.
Tuck's Takes.
Morning, Ross. Well, it looks like Kyler Murray's Instagram is not going to be scrubbed anymore. Signs 5-year, $230.5 million extension. That's $160 million guaranteed. He's now under contract 7 years, $46.1 million annual new money.
Right. So he had 2 years left on his contract. So they added 5. So it's 7 years total. They always go by the new money average. 46.1 is 0.1 more than Deshaun Watson, which makes Kyler Murray, I guess, the second highest paid quarterback in the NFL on an average per year basis behind Aaron Rodgers, which is just really just one way to calculate contracts. Even so, on some level, this is a huge win for the Arizona Cardinals in particular, but the NFL in general, because a lot of people were wondering, are we going to see fully guaranteed contracts for these guys moving forward after the Deshaun Watson deal? That didn't happen. It's $160 million guaranteed for injury. It's over $100 million fully guaranteed at signing. So he is getting that money. And I'll tell you why in a little bit, but not all full guarantees are full guarantees. But he's getting that money. So good for Kyler Murray. I love seeing guys get paid. We'll see if he can take the next step now. But over $100 million fully guaranteed. But still, the NFL, I think, is breathing a sigh of relief that the Cardinals didn't continue the precedent set by the Browns with a fully guaranteed deal at signing.
Tuck's Takes.
John Mechie, Texans rookie wide receiver, diagnosed with leukemia. He is unlikely to play football this season.
That hurts. Really hurts. We might have Dr. Chow on soon over the next couple of weeks. Obviously, he's an orthopedic surgeon, but I saw where he tweeted that football might have saved John Mechie's life, just in the sense that he had some injury, and as a result of the injury, was getting a lot of scans, a lot of whatever, and I think that's how they caught this. So obviously, best wishes to John in his recovery. So kudos to the NFL, I guess, to the Texans for noticing it. And yeah, I think football is probably low on his priorities right now. Does not help the Texans. Obviously, they were really hoping that he would be a productive player for them this year, but he has, as the expression goes, bigger fish to fry.
Tuck's Takes.
The Jags cut E.J. Perry, who had $230,000 guaranteed with hamstring injury during training camp. Also with NFI designation. And then they sign, is it Kyle Sloter, right?
Yeah. So I think it's Slaughter, actually. But that's not who I want to talk about anyway. So this is important. Nowadays, a lot of these rookies sign contracts with guaranteed money, but it's a guarantee against their salary. If you get hurt away from the team, like Perry did, and they designate you NFI, non-football injury, which is comical, but in fairness to them, they don't know how. He could have been running on the beach, right? They don't know how he got injured. They don't have to give him any of the money. Can you imagine, Bri, being 23, 24 years old, and you're thinking worst case scenario, I'm getting 230 grand, and I'll be on at least somebody's practice squad probably. And maybe he still will be, but the Jaguars don't owe him $1. So he went from going to be battling his butt off to be the third quarterback in Jacksonville or at worst on practice squad and getting $230,000 at age 24 to zero. I mean, I would be sick. I feel so bad for him because he's out 3 to 4 weeks. So by the time he even is healthy enough, it's going to be too late. He's going to miss all of training camp. He's a guy who's going to have to go to another league. Maybe someone will still like him enough that they put him on a practice squad this year. I don't know. He might have to play in the XFL or might have to do it like Colin did, do it the hard way in the spring.
Tuck's Takes.
Every NFL team has an alternate helmet, seemingly. Most of them are black, with a number of them, including the Cardinals that were announced over the weekend, although the Bears announced one over the weekend as well that is orange.
Cardinals black helmet looks sweet. I'm excited to see that on their red jerseys. The Bears uniform, not so much. I'm an orange fan as a Princeton grad. I like orange, but their orange, it seemed like a weird tint of orange, actually. Was not very well received on social media, which is such a bummer, right? Because if you're the Bears, that's a big reason, part of your reason for doing it is you want the buzz, you want people to buy it. Oh, I love it. It didn't really seem like that was the case. It did seem like it was the case, Bri, that I was rocking my Express Polo this weekend at the beach. Check me out, social media, at Ross Tucker NFL. I love their textures, their patterns. And I told you guys before, the ability to wear like a polo to the beach or wear a polo when you're going out like with shorts or slacks and you look very dressed up. Love it. Love polo versatility. Love Express. Find an outfit for every destination express, online or in store.
Tux Takes.
And finally, a lot of players starting camp on PUP, as you mentioned earlier. Usually no big deal, but situations like Roger Saffold in Buffalo having a rib issue after a car accident, that's something to monitor, as is Packers. David Bakhtiari, yet again, not ready in Green Bay.
Very worried about Bakhtiari. Very worried about whether or not he ever plays football again. Doesn't seem like a good situation. And yes, I started a year on PUP once. Guys come off PUP all the time, but there are surprise PUPs. Like, well, I guess Saffold was an NFI because he broke a couple ribs, I think, in a car accident. So I don't know how long he'll be out. I'm sure he'll be ready for the start of the regular season, which is all that matters. But he's a new player on a new team that I'm sure they wanted to get as many reps as possible. Shout outs are always in order for Pizza Boy Brewing, Sporticulture, HumanHeadNYC.com, SteakhouseSports.com, Go-Bengals.com, Evergreen Economics. If you're a five for fiver, they always say in Philly, I'm a Philly 4 for 4, right? So Sixers, Phillies, Flyers, Eagles. If you're a RT Media 5 for 5, you listen to all 5 shows. College Draft will be tomorrow with Emory. He's got some other stuff going today. So we will do the Big Ten top 10 prospects tomorrow with Emory on the College Draft podcast. We have an awesome even money scheduled for you tomorrow with a stud guest who just won a huge contest or got 5th, which is winning $114,000 last season on even money. And then Joe Dolan, we're going to continue with Tears of Dolan. Should be a fun week. Glad to have you guys aboard. We're just about there. I mean, Colin will report tomorrow. I think everybody reports tomorrow. It's go time. I think we're done here.
Thanks for listening to the Ross Tucker Football Podcast. Make sure to also subscribe to the Fantasy Feast, Even Money, Business of Sports, and College Draft. All available at Apple Podcasts, rosstucker.com, or wherever podcasts can be found.